Welcome back to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. My name is Andrew Erickson, and today we're going to be breaking down my 11 players to trade right now before Week 9. But first, since no winner came forward for our Week 4 Jalen Waddle giveaway, we're giving it away again. So the new winner of the autographed Jalen Waddle jersey, courtesy of pristineauction.com, is Joe Fragnito. Please get in touch with our customer support agents at mailbag@fantasypros.com with your mailing address and proof of your subscription to the Fantasy Pros channel, and we will get that jersey shipped out to you. Again, the winner is Joe Fragnito. Congratulations. Now that we've given away that one, let's do it again. If you want a chance to win a signed DK Metcalf Seattle Seahawks jersey, courtesy of our friends at Pristine Auction, you just subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel right now, comment below on this video, and that's it. Make sure to turn on those notifications to know when new videos drop and to find out if you've won. Now, let's get to those trades. Wide receiver Romeo Doubs, Green Bay Packers, rest of season rank wide receiver 47. Rookie Romeo Doubs played the most snaps among the Packers wide receivers and led the team with 7 targets, catching 4 for 62 yards and 1 touchdown in Week 8, 24% target share. Tight end Robert Tonyan finished second with 6 targets. But keep in mind that Doubs' touchdown score came without Allen Lazard in the lineup. Considering how inconsistent Doubs has been this season, I'd view his excellent primetime showing as a perfect opportunity to sell high with Lazard making a return this week or the next. I'd move Doubs for Cordero Patterson coming off injured reserve, Wan'Dale Robinson off a down week, or this under-the-radar running back. Running back Antonio Gibson, Washington Commanders, rest season rank RB37. Antonio Gibson finished second on the Commanders with 7 targets, catching all 7 for 58 yards and a touchdown, 23% target share in Week 8 after drawing the start. Rookie Brian Robinson totaled just 8 carries for 20 yards and 0 touchdowns. He only had 1 more carry and rushing yard than Gibson. Week 8 was also the first time since Robinson's return that Gibson out-touched him and out-snapped the rookie, 36% versus 25%. It was overall a 48% opportunity share for Antonio Gibson. He has an 18% target share and over 200 yards from scrimmage in his last 3 games. He's averaged 13.5 touches over his last 2 games. Chasing the snaps and Gibson's efficient play should be the move for fantasy managers this week, with Washington's upcoming schedule favorable for running backs. Top 5 per Fantasy Pro strength of schedule tool and number 2 overall per PFF. Trade a Chiefs running back, Brian Robinson straight up, or A.J. Dillon to get your hands on AG, but definitely not this next running back. Khalil Herbert, Chicago Bears, rest of season rank RB29. Herbert posted 16 carries for 99 yards and 1 touchdown versus Dave Montgomery's 15 carries for 53 yards and 0 scores. Montgomery added 3 targets and outstaffed Herbert 70% versus 28%. But that was due to Montgomery's usage as a receiver, considering the Bears were facing a negative game script early against the Cowboys. He ran around on 70% of dropbacks. The final touches were 18 for Montgomery and 16 for Herbert. But we all know how this backfield is trending, with Herbert continuing to be the better, more productive running back. Week 8 marked the first time all season that Herbert saw more carries than a healthy Montgomery. I'd be all over him this week ahead of the Bears' schedule that should find them in more back-and-forth contests. They have the number 1 schedule for fantasy running backs rest of the season per Fantasy Pros strength of schedule tool. I'd gladly trade Brian Robinson, Michael Carter, James Conner, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or even David Montgomery straight up to get my paws on Herbert. I wouldn't move this next wide receiver, though, unless I was desperate for a running back. Wide receiver Courtland Sutton, Denver Broncos, rest of season rank wide receiver 25. Sutton finished with just 1 catch on 4 targets for 13 yards in Week 8, despite running a route on 97% of dropbacks. Elite usage, but nothing to show for it. However, with favorable matchups coming up after the bye week versus the Titans and Raiders, and the number 1 schedule for fantasy wide receivers overall per PFF, Sutton is worth sending a lowball offer for. He may even get dropped with the Broncos on a bye week. Nowhere to go but up. You could get Sutton for Jacoby Myers, Tyler Boyd, or Deontay Johnson. I would not move Sutton to get this running back, however. Running back Raheem Mostert, Miami Dolphins, rest season rank RB19. If I'm desperate for instant running back production, I am trading for Raheem Mostert. He continues to dominate the touches in the Miami Dolphins backfield over former Miami Dolphin Chase Edmonds. 68% opportunity share in Week 8, 15-4 in touches, 50% route participation, and the upcoming schedule for the Dolphins is juicy. Bears, Browns, and Texans with a bye week thrown in between is by far the best layout for any NFL running back. And for all those same reasons, I'm stashing Jeff Wilson Jr. on my bench in case the injury-prone Mostert goes down. The Miami Dolphins traded Chase Edmonds to the Denver Broncos and also acquired Jeff Wilson through trade from the 49ers. Jeff Wilson obviously has ties back to McDaniel from his days in San Francisco. As for what I'm going to give up for Raheem Mostert, I'm looking at Najee Harris, Michael Pittman Jr., or Christian Kirk as potential trade bait. If I'm desperate for a running back, I would also consider this next wide receiver, but I'd rather be a buyer than a seller. Wide receiver Devontae Smith, Philadelphia Eagles, rest of season rank wide receiver 22. A.J. Brown dominated the production with 3 touchdowns and a 37% target share in Week 8, but don't overlook Devontae Smith's 27% target share. He converted his 8 targets into just 5 catches for 23 yards, which creates a buying window for aggressive fantasy managers. Entering Week 8, Smith and Brown had equal target share in their last 4 games. He'll bounce back based on his role in the Eagles' offense, which tend to see him run more routes every week than A.J. Brown. Jacoby Myers and Terry McLaurin, I'd happily move for Smith. I'd also move those guys to get this next buy low wide receiver. Wide receiver Gabe Davis, Buffalo Bills, rest season rank wide receiver 16. Gabriel Davis finally posts a high-end target share, 28% in Week 8, but catches just 2 balls for 35 yards. Woof. 2 words. Buy low. No other Bill besides Stephon Diggs saw more than 3 targets. Davis also saw almost 100 air yards and combined for 3 red zone and deep targets. Considering he ran around on 87% of Josh Allen's dropbacks while seeing high-value targets, he's going to experience week-winning performances down the stretch. Can't say the same for someone like Michael Pittman, who could be used to acquire Davis. You could also flip this running back for Davis plus. The Buccaneers rest season rank RB17. Leonard Fournette scored on Thursday night, but it's hardly a reason for celebration. He has seen 12 or fewer touches for 2 straight games, while rookie Rachaad White has seen 7 touches for 3 straight weeks. Fournette rushed just 9 times for 24 yards, 2.7 yards per carry. He ranks dead last in the NFL in rushing EPA. And both running backs saw 3 targets despite Fournette running a route on 73% of dropbacks. The Buccaneers' RB1 remains a sell-high candidate amid his efficiency woes and White imposing his will as a threat to Lenny's workload. Not to mention the Bucs own the 2nd toughest schedule for fantasy running backs per PFF. Move him for Chris Olave, Ramondre Stevenson, or Chris Godwin, or use him to get this next running back. DeAndre Swift, Detroit Lions, rest season rank RB13. DeAndre Swift finished with just 5 carries for 6 yards, but caught 5 passes for 27 yards and 1 touchdown, receiving on 5 targets in his first game since Week 3. However, Swift totaled just 10 touches to Jamal Williams' 13. Williams also scored 2 rushing touchdowns, but Swift still played more snaps, 55%, and ran a route on 54% of dropbacks. Considering the struggles of the Lions' defense so far this season, that can't stop anybody, I'd be a buyer of Swift after a so-so game. It's not crazy to think he was being eased back after so much time missed. He also has a salivating schedule over the next 3 weeks against Green Bay, Chicago, and New York. And TJ Hawkinson is now a Minnesota Viking, opening up more targets in the offense for DeAndre Swift. I'd be happy to move Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, or this highly recognized running back for Swift. Running back Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis Colts, rest of season rank RB9. Taylor rushed 16 times for 76 yards in Week 8, but re-injured his ankle. He also commanded just 1 target with Sam Ehlinger at quarterback. Ehlinger rushed for 15 yards on 6 carries. The lack of receiving was to be expected with Ehlinger at quarterback, but the lack of juice overall in the Colts offense is holding JT back, as is a nagging ankle injury that seems like it will be a bother for him for the rest of 2022. With a bottom schedule for fantasy running backs and a Week 14 bye week, I did my best to get out of the Taylor business now while he still has his name cachet attached to his fantasy value. Only a 68% opportunity share for Taylor in Week 8, which ranked outside the top 10 running backs. If you can flip JT for Travis Etienne or Aaron Jones, I'd pull the trigger, or consider an elite wide receiver like Jalen Waddle, CeeDee Lamb, or my number 1 buy low wide receiver Devontae Adams, Las Vegas Raiders, rest season rank wide receiver 7. Devontae Adams ran a route on 28 of Derek Carr's 29 dropbacks, 97%, but caught just 1 pass for 3 yards on 5 targets in Week 8. It was a disaster for the Raiders all day on offense. Adams failed to catch any of his 3 targets of 20-plus air yards, but one bad game for Adams gives savvy fantasy managers the perfect chance to buy. Even after a horrible game, Adam ranks 6th in the NFL in target share at 30%, 11th in air yard share at 40%, and 8th in weighted opportunity. Not to mention, the Raiders also have a top 5 schedule for the rest of the season for fantasy wide receivers. Go get him now. And that completes my 11 players to trade right now before Week 9 kicks off. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and share with all your non-league mate friends. And before you go, again, if you want a chance to win a signed DK Metcalf Seattle Seahawks jersey, courtesy of our friends at Pristine Auction, all you need to do is subscribe to the FantasyPros YouTube channel right now, comment below on this video, and that's it. Make sure to turn on those notifications to know when new videos drop and to find out if you have won.
Thanks for tuning in to the FantasyPros YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our featured videos. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at FantasyPros, so you can get the latest news and updates to give you the edge you need in your fantasy league.